I know some videos about platinum minimum battles are on YouTube, but they don't show every single battle. Don't bother with this first battle because it's irrelevant, inconsequential. You can not lose this. Actually, you have the game just lets you continue the journey. But when I did this and whatever further rival battle, if the Pokemon could not do it, it falls out. Like the first battle was something like Magikarp that only knows Splash, so it's and not even a case somewhere here among these random battles in the first 2-3 battles is 2-5, whatever. The point is, there is one very specific Pokemon that has no move that can harm the opponent. Yeah, it was the second or the third battle. I think it had some ghost move or something, so that fell out, but that was a very unique thing. I did not use any of the trade evolutions. I cannot simulate the XP curve and the disobedience factor. I also did not use anything that you cannot catch in Platinum. That's all barely a half a dozen Pokemon, so don't worry about that either. And I also did not use Palkia and Dialga, the only two Pokemon that are post-game. And I did not use, I don't know, Manaphy, that's again not in the game. So, yeah. Otherwise, first I started to use, I go with this one of the Pokemon, then if it fails, I will just use the next one. And but later I started to rotate it. Here, the first gym is like in the first generation, red, blue, yellow, and in generation third, Emerald and those, is rock type. It decimates the pool of Pokemon that can continue further. Absolutely decimates them. There remains like something between 20 and 30 Pokemon. You really need to have super good stats, or you need good speed and super effective moves, or just be very fast and not do cause enough damage your even you get neutral damage, or even you would get super effective damage. You can just win against them. Here is a first double battle, so called, but you always get in this game a companion to fight along you. There is only one single mandatory double battle where you do not get a companion. So yeah, and I think there is one double battle for which you can put down lake whatever on the southwest corner of the lake. There, I think it's there where you can put down your Pokemons and only go there with one, so you can transform a double battle into 2 single battles. I also show you the circumstances of the battles, like I will sometimes show you that no, I cannot avoid this battle, I cannot circumgo the people, the NPCs, trainers on the map, or in this case that this trainer just goes back and locks the door behind it, so you have to go and do your stuff elsewhere. In theory you can exchange this battle and the previous one, the 8th and 9th battles, but it makes no sense. And actually this is two consecutive single battles without a pause between them. Sometimes, especially in these early phases, it's very complicated to do stuff because sometimes your stats and the opponent stats make it that your neutral physical move is more efficient than your special moves. That's just a trial and error, especially that I am not a professional Pokemon player. So I also that's another thing that I handle this in a very special way. I check what moves I use and what moves I can reapply. So when I reach the move reminder, those are just a free for all. I only used that for like one Pokemon and it fell out sometimes sooner or later, or maybe two. I think Lucario also used that option like twice. Here it is very annoying. There is a lot of random factors still in Generation 4. It's confusion and paralyzes luck and sleeps, all that. I pushed all my Pokemon to the limit. There was one that like almost solely relied on confusion and sleep. Had no actual damaging move otherwise. I said maybe a 20 power something or other. But other times it was actually interesting because I relied on moves that I either never used or I had very little faith in. Like I definitely remember I once used a series of Fury Cutter to get past one of the Galactic trainers. You actually fight a lot of Galactic grunts, like 16 in the whole game. They are very present and the story is well paced, certainly well established, what they are doing. Not that you really care what they are doing, and at the first half of the playthrough, yeah. Like for this one, it's really the opponents are 6-7 levels higher, but it's not really that big of a difference. I usually don't show you this time failed attempts. When I do, I want to make a point of it, like really bad luck like in this one. Toxic and fake out and paralyze and whatever. And sometimes everything turns out great. Like I remember with the Glyce core and its evolution, I had a battle where I only passed because I got 3 critical consecutive hits. So all of the opponent Pokemon got one-shotted. It had absolutely zero chance otherwise progressing, but it passed for me, so I let it through because I didn't care how realistic it is beyond a certain point. I mean, if I get through, I let it pass. And I pushed them, and quick claw is in here. You should pick up the quick claw. I even used on like Garchomp in the first 2/3 of the game because it needs it. It is a requirement. Otherwise, you are too slow. Mostly because the Pokemons are way too high level for you. But even with paralyzes and confusion, priority moves even, Platinum is a pretty well-balanced game when it comes to minimum battles. Sure, you want to speed up the game through emulators. Yeah, I used Devmoom, so I could only just push down a button, and that's a built-in. I couldn't even change the speed for the button pressing, but yeah, it was okay, acceptable with this speed. And here is Rotom. You will realize I do change the form of Rotom to give every advantage it can have. The whole point of Rotom is it can't change its form. It cannot until it reaches whatever gym to use, cut to get into the haunted mansion. But I said, if it can change form, it gets the pass. It has access to it for me. Like even Giratina. But all these form changers also allowed sooner or later, so in the end it didn't make any difference when it comes to the availability for minimum battles. Yeah, even Giratina just fell out at one point. It actually used its alternate form to get past whatever, but after that it just died. At least I didn't find any option to progress further with it. And as you see, I clearly see they show you every single battle you have to do a minimum battle. If I looked over something and you find one of these were optional, that's on me. You can recreate the progress. At least I showed what I can. I tell you what I number. I avoid every possible double battles. So you can see what I call a battle. You see what I did battle, and this is the another thing. In Emerald it was technically optional, it was very hard to avoid the grass trainer. Here it is mandatory because it's an entire team, the grass type. So it's actually Game Freaks, Nintendo don't just recycling emeralds, if you think about it. But again, this is the second decimation. It went down to like a simple dozen of Pokemon from this point. I actually was surprised that even that amount passed this gym, because I remember I always have trouble with the grass gym here. I mean, the gym leader especially. It's sunny day and healing and reflect and all that kind of stuff, but you know, that's life. This form changing cherubim or whatever its name is. But you see, with the right move, when you, and it's, I very much don't like this, there is no reusable TMs here. For the reusable TMs topic, when I had access to, I said, the move reminder, I didn't really like it because I didn't really find a reliable source of hard skills, or at least I didn't investigate that because I didn't really need the option of the move reminder. But otherwise, if there is a game code, that's absolutely fair game. That's a reusable TM for me. And as I did not know what I will need from, you know, the normally running by level up, I used that option a lot, and I make notes that, yeah, I never used that move slot, so yeah, that's a free move slot, just get away with it. Like Lucario's counter I never used, I think. I'm pretty sure of it. And no, there is no starter or any other Pokemon that could pass this game without, upgrading its form. I don't even think there was a Pokemon that has only a single form that could get to the league. I'm checking it, and no, there is no single form Pokemon that gets into the league. I was bloody surprised on Torterra because this is one of the finalists. Seriously, it's a very successful Pokemon. Even though it is very slow. It has a great move pool and has great bug. And of course has access to Quickly. Everything has access to Quickly, and you should get it because everything will rely on it sooner or later. There are no real good held items late game. You want Metronome for most of your mons. My approach was that I didn't run every single form of the Pokemon, evolution grades. I went with the basic ones, the lowest form, and when it died I upgraded it, so to say, upgraded to the next possible form. And when it came to, stone evolutions, I said, I give it every single move that it could have before it used its stone. Not that it helped, especially the Eevees. The Eevees have terrible move pools, and before they get access to their, elemental moves, they all die because something or another. The Ghost gym here is actually, Miss Maggie's is horrendously high level, but surprisingly, at least they don't torture you with, what's that, curse. I hate that, and it's not really relying on confusion either. That's another regular annoyance for Ghost gyms. So it's actually pretty nice. Barry don't regularly ambushes you on unexpected places, so you can always see him, well, almost always can see him, and just go to the nearest Poké Center and heal up. I gave him always the Pokemon that has the super effective move against my Pokemon, my starter, my only Pokemon, well, But I made no restrictions for catching Pokemon. This is not one of the later generation 6 starters that if you catch a Pokemon you get XP. Here you don't get XP, so I see no reason to not catch Pokemons. This doesn't matter for the sole mandatory double battle because, well, that is just against two galactic grunts and they are not very powerful. But otherwise, so there I thought about just catching something strong if I fail, but they were just kinda easy. Otherwise it comes to play to get an extra rare candy for catching every single unknowns. Otherwise I've got agent, servants, minions. It's actually just your usual, it had no deviation from my regular playthrough. I had a Bidoof, a Bibarel, and I think a Star something of the Staraptor, earlier generation, earlier level form of pre-evolution form of Staraptor. But you can, or and because of accident, one of my Pokemon got a Zubat at the same place. I always cached the next HM minion when it came to I had to have it because of progress. The move deleter is very late in the game, so you can just put it on your main Pokemon, the HMs. Levitate is one of the terrible things because and Torterra, that's like Turtwig line, had a lot of problems because of it. At one point that Pokemon has Synthesis, which is reliable at Move Tutor, and Sunny Day, which is not replaceable in Platinum. I was very worried because I had to rely on this combo just because of this fact. And then I used Earthquake, which is again just a single copy TM, and then there was Rock Slide, yeah. But before that, I had on the Turtwig line Iron Tail, and that is like 80% accuracy, and everything was either a bird or something like a Bronzor. It was very annoying, and yeah, that, by the way, Bronzong, that progressed very far into this project. I was very proud of that, and we found like special strategies for like Medicham, and I was very glad to find it, and I had to find it myself because there was no guide for a platinum minimum battle, aside those YouTube playthroughs where they only show the gym battles and the rival battles. It helped, especially the Garchomp ones. It reminded me especially that I can consume candies, and I had to consume candies at certain points with certain Pokemon. On the other hand, the Togekiss is a great Pokemon, absolutely great. It has super big bulk and it's super strong, and I suspect it's the past level up group. I didn't check, but it's had insanely high level always. But I never really cared to check it out anyway, so it doesn't have access to rock moves, and rock move will come in play when you are fighting in the dungeon dimension Cyrus. If you want to just not think about it a lot, you should go to get Rock Slide and put it on your Pokemon and give it a metronome and just clear its team, clear Cyrus team, but until you get there, and that blocks one of your 4 moves, so there is that kind of worry, but I got to the league with that. That is unfortunately a one-time TM also in the game, and Rocks or Stone Age. Stone Age is locked behind an optional battle. Yeah, I made notes on TM accessibility too. Unfortunately, again, some were locked behind optional battles. Here it was, this has Aftermath. I think this is one that has Aftermath. Didn't really pose a real problem, challenge. I handled the berries. Let's talk about the berries. I showed you that you cannot avoid that trainer just by sticking to the farthest part of the road. Sometimes you can avoid those people, like trainers like those. So if I get access to a berry, not by daily giveaway, you know, there are like 3 NPCs that give you daily berries, but actually for one of them I used because I needed the ultimate HP berries, you know, Figgy Berry and Wiki Berry and that stuff. Actually, if you only remember those two, one of those two won't cause you confusion whatever Pokemon you have, so that's enough information. But yeah, I think I used that option to pass a certain challenge. Most of the gyms you don't have to fight trainers at all, but sometimes as the game progresses, it's more frequent that you do have to fight the, you know, minions in the gym. Yeah, I showed you that no, I cannot pass there, but here, this. That was, I suspected maybe that's because of the perspective. If you go from the upper side, you can squeeze through without risking the rotating trainer. So, yeah, that's that. But I wanted to check if I can just pass through and avoid that battle or not. This is one of the battles that is absolutely horrendous, and I think at least here you have to start consuming candies. I'm not entirely sure, but I made notes, so yeah. You can check it on Reddit. What is the thread? r/SoloPokes. Yeah, there is my entire detailed what you can pick up at what point and all that kind of stuff. Here, the only problem is, well, not the only problem, but one of the problems with these double battles is you don't want to shoot on your partner's Pokemon because that just makes your life harder. Sometimes it's very attractive to just shoot an earthquake and shoot them down, and if you shoot down the partner's Pokemon, it doesn't matter, you don't get XP for it, so yeah, here it survived on 1 HP. Now this is oh, I hate this Barry battle, it's so annoying. Ambushes you and whatever. And he actually has a pretty annoying team. Oh, double team. Oh, that's how I hate it. And Empoleon is brought through this minimum battle challenge by sheer sword stance. That's like 90% of the time it's on it. By the way, it's a Game Corner DM, so you can just say, I spent an hour in the Game Corner area and I again have a copy of to reapply it, so you can just knock it out if you want. You are not sure or whatever. Yeah, I always get worried that I get burned and all that kind of. Interestingly, water moves are not that frequently on Empoleon. I don't think I ever used Prime. Metal Claw was good for a while, but you know, it's only 50 power, so it's not that attractive. Yeah. I have to make certain discoveries what order, what trainers you have to fight in like this gym. So turned out the one at the gate on the left side of the gate is mandatory, so while you can avoid it initially, It's optional, you can just take it ahead, but usually the you don't need to rely on these kind of this one. You don't need to rely on these tricks because usually the ones that naturally comes later are higher level and harder Pokemons, have more the trainer has more Pokemon, so it's not really a thing. But sometimes it's good to know. But yeah, it wasted a lot of real life time to discover what items you have access, and I only use. You don't have to hoard like elixirs and ethers. I only use them on certain Pokemons in the Victory Road. Uh, Healing items are good, but again, rarely necessary. And whatever you find naturally is usually enough. I never bought a single one, but sometimes it would have been more comfortable. And don't hesitate, like here your HP can get really low because of confusion luck and whatever type effectiveness. Even though this is like the last of the minion trainer in the gym, go out and go through the gym puzzle again. It's much easier than, drinking more elixirs and HP potions, whatever. Just go out, heal up, come back. It's minimum battle, it's not a speedrun challenge, so don't fuss about it. Yeah, Gyarados that's levitating, so you can't just earthquake. For return, that Warriors plant I have to rely on return like 115 friendship and 225 friendship. I just instantly knocked it up to maximum. 255 is the maximum. Just to have the most use of it, because I need a return. And your friendship level just goes up just by walking up and down for half an hour, so I mean, why bother, just knock it up in some editor. And the other thing is, there are some TMs that you can buy in the department store. Again, those are for me for reusable TMs, but I don't think I used a single one of those. I just relied on what the Game Corner offers. And also my natures, the Pokemon natures are usually started with the hard nature, and or when I saw that this is the most advantageous for this, and I just gave it whatever Modest or Adamant, and on one I think it was Bronzong. For that it was, well, it is slow anyway, and it uses both physical and special attacks. Yes, sometimes it used physical, so I just gave it I think naughty nature or whatever, lonely maybe. Either way it bumped up the special attack and it lowered the speed. That was the only special case where I didn't use either Hardy or Modest or Adamant. This only, and I made note that yes, I do need this kind of nature. The only time that I had to make a, so to say, downgrade is Togekiss. Togekiss has to use not just its primary physical user, but at one point it has to use shockwave, so, and it definitely needs the maximum damage it can do. I mean, it cannot be use nature that lowers the special damage. So it's either hardy. I used hardy. I switched back from adamant. It's super strong, so it doesn't hurt your progress or previous progress. But I switched from adamant to hardy. But it was just it must have neutral damage for both physical and special at least. So it was a possibility that I will just pump up the physical damage with lowering, I don't know, either of the defense, but I don't like to lower the speed. That would be